It is abundantly clear that it is March.
March is fun.
Abundantly clear that it is March.
There's all kinds of stuff going on. Now we got daytime basketball starting today.
It's gonna be a beautiful day, man.
Uh-huh. A lot of daytime basketball about to happen.
Man, I'm super excited for this week, man. For real.
Oh yeah. Conference tournament week's always the best.
Sure. Okay, we are back. College Hoops RX with your boy Sosa Picks, joined by my co-host Spin Doctor as usual. Back off of another great day. Another great day in college basketball. A nice Wednesday night, clean sweep from Spin. I was dead wrong on the Butler under. That game went over by about 40 points. So blame me for the 1L of the day. We can do that. I'll wear it proudly. But again, great job of seeing the spots, especially in conference games. And looking to move on to today. We can do a quick recap of yesterday if you'd like, and we get into bracketology and get straight to it.
Yeah, last night was fun. There were a lot of good games. I actually watched because hit a live play in VIP with Tennessee and Ole Miss. Ole Miss came back twice from I think 6 or 8 points down in that one and just kept fighting. They they really found the way off the dribble drive to get to Tennessee's defense and to get them out of position to avoid their length. In the first half, Ole Miss had committed a number of a few turnovers, but in the second half they had virtually none. Only 5 turnovers for the game, which with a team with Tennessee's length is just absolutely incredible. They shot the ball pretty well, and what they found in the second half was a lot of quick, immediate ball rotations can get Tennessee jumping. And when you get Tennessee jumping, that's when you can use your drive from guys like Dre Davis, from guys like Jalen Murray, and get them out of position. So a big win for Chris Beard's team. I mean, they were in the tournament to begin with, but this is probably going to take them off the 8-9 line, which is where they were. We'll get to bracketology in a minute, like Sosa said. Probably going to get them off the 8-9 line and probably get them into a 7-10 spot, or possibly, depending on how they do in the SEC tournament, might even be able to get them into a 6 seed where they would avoid one of the top 8 seeds until the Sweet 16. So it's a good spot, and it was a much needed win for them. The one team, though, I mean, we got to talk about them. The team. I said it. They needed a win so bad. And that was, and I see Adams is in the house, and I know it pained him, but Oklahoma Sooners, they needed a win in the worst possible way. VIP cashed that one. I decided to go with Oklahoma. I decided to go with them for VIP. There's too much that supported it with some of the road performances that Mizzou had. But really, I texted Mike this during the game, and I said, because he saw it perfectly too. Motivations matter at this stage. Motivations matter, and
Absolutely.
not that Mizzou didn't want to win or wasn't playing hard, but you had an OU team. They knew it. I mean, you could tell from the jump that they knew that if we don't win this game, we can probably kiss our tournament hopes goodbye unless we're beating multiple top 10 teams in the SEC tournament. So they knew this was our shot. This was our chance. Get that quad 1 win. That was their 6th quad 1 win, which is a big deal because Actually, no, I'm sorry, their 5th quad 1 win, which is a big deal because it's actually more than a number of teams that are on the bubble. It's actually more than a few teams that are ahead of them in the standings, net and otherwise. So a huge victory for the Sooners. And I'll tell you where I think that they stand after last night when we get to bracketology. Elsewhere, UConn handled business at home. You can't leave Caravan open in crunch time, man. You just can't do it. They did, and they paid for it because Marquette was in a position to potentially steal that game. But like they usually do, or like they've done last few years. I mean, not so much this year. UConn got it done. Not that they were in any danger of missing the tournament, but that's probably going to lock it up and probably put them in anywhere in the 7 to 9 seeding range. Elsewhere, even though both these teams are already in the tournament, fun game with Florida and Alabama. This is why I said with a game like this, you're either taking the over or you're taking nothing. It's just so hard to bet on an under for teams that are so efficient on offense. They delivered almost 200 total points. Didn't get to watch a whole lot of the game of that game. Sosa, I don't know if you did because I was watching Tennessee and Ole Miss. What were your thoughts?
The same as with any Alabama team. Bro, Nate Oates has done a great job of developing a program that runs pro-style basketball. But he just doesn't coach defense, bro. And that's my takeaway from watching Alabama play. He just doesn't coach defense. He doesn't put like an onus on it at practice. It's obvious. Anybody can go up against Alabama, score 85 points. Anybody. And last night was just, obviously they played a good team. Florida might be the best team in the country. Like, it's time that we could honestly have that conversation. They could legit be the best team in America.
On some nights they can be, yeah.
And that's just like that's so impressive. Going on the road end of season, you're not winning the SEC championship, right? You could have gone in there and lost and had every excuse in the book as to why you lost to a top 10 team that's been in the top 10 all year. But Nate Oates on the other side what do you need to motivate your players? It's senior night. Sears, it's your time, bro. And then you go out there, lay an egg, lose a game, and you just fall into the same thing where it's your defense is just a sieve, and you just let someone come onto your home court and just handle you. And it's the same thing we see with all the Alabama teams that Nate Oates has coached. Offensively, look amazing. Last year they had a top 3 pick. The offense was amazing. It's the same thing this year. They don't have a top 3 pick this year, but they got all the offense they need. But defensively, they're an absolute joke. Anybody can score 85 points, and I hate to harp on it, but man, like those layup lines. Alabama let them do anything they wanted, and it's not the first time we've seen it this year. We've seen teams who are inferior offensively beat them, or not beat them, but just compete with them. And that's based on Nate Oates thinking he's the college basketball version of Mike fucking D'Antoni, and that's my soliloquy on it. You want to be a big dog, you got to play some defense. You got to make the other team react to something, and they just don't do it. So.
Only other team from last night I wanted to talk about. They're in the tournament anyway, but it's just not what you want to see when you're heading into this part of the season. So the Wolverines are kind of in a little mini slump right now. They're 2-3 in their last 5. Their 2 wins were against 2 teams that they should have won by quite a bit more. Rutgers by 2 at home, and then they had that just absolute garbage fest, 49-46 at Nebraska. They're not in great form right now for a team that was putting up consistently in the 80s and had actually had a number of games in the 90s and a few over 100. Their offense has been sputtering. Only 65 points last night at home. The game before that, they got smacked by Illinois, only put up 73 again, 49 against Nebraska. Sparty held them to 62. So ever since that Michigan State game, they just haven't had it offensively. They now got to go to East Lansing on Sunday. That's not going to be a very, very difficult game. We'll see what they bring. I mean, the Wolverines are going to the tournament no matter what happens. But when you're looking for teams to either bank on or to fade, you're also looking for how they're playing at this stage of the game. And Michigan is just not playing very well right now. So the loss to Maryland isn't as concerning because Maryland's a good team. Maryland's top 15 team in the country. It's how it happened.
Maryland's not only good; they got a star. They have like a legit superstar level player too. Like that helps. That helps in close games for sure.
Oh, absolutely. But Michigan only shot 43% last night. They finished with 6 turnovers. Have just killed this team all year. They actually do have like a sub 250 turnover rate. It's 16 more last night, and I don't remember the number, but I know that Maryland got ample points off of turnovers. So if you're not going to shoot the ball well and you're going to turn the ball over 16 times, not a recipe for success. We'll see how Dusty May gets them to respond. They certainly have the talent to make a Sweet 16 run at least, but they're not playing well right now. They're not in good form, so they need a good showing on Sunday against Sparty. So
glad you brought up the coach out also with Michigan. A lot of guys get credit for taking mid-major schools to the tournament and dominating inferior conferences. Dusty May did a very good job of that at Florida Atlantic. Now you got the big money job. What's it going to be come tournament time? Also, it's a prime example of the differences in how college basketball works now. He was able to take 3 kids with him from FAU to Michigan. So this is a huge move for him because if Michigan doesn't perform in the tournament, I'm going to start looking at him a little funny.
Yeah.
Because you get a lot of credit when you're wearing an Owls jersey.
Yep.
Put that when you're coaching in Michigan now and you're getting 5 times what you were getting paid, and you bring guys with you, the fall off. I don't want it to be looking cataclysmic, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go out early in the tournament either. They're playing they're playing their worst ball at the wrong time.
Yep, they have a chance to get it right in the Big Ten tournament and get a little momentum. I'm not expecting them to. I mean, if they go in and steal one in East Lansing, which I'm not expecting, then I will completely change my view. But like you said, Sosa, this is the wrong time to be playing your worst ball. So, all right, on to bracketology. So I already kind of talked about a few of these last night. Oklahoma coming in was the first team out in, or even the one of the second teams out in a lot of metrics. This will propel them to one of the last 4 in. Now, as far as who goes out, I think for the time being, Boise probably does. No fault of their own. They just didn't play. But I talked about yesterday the path that Boise has. It's pretty simple. They have to beat Colorado State. They have to win at least 1 game in the Mountain West tournament, probably 2. If they get to the Mountain West Championship, that should lock it up. Obviously, if they win it, they will. But if they get to the Mountain West Championship game, that should lock it up. If they win 2 games, should do it. But they are the definition of a bubble team right now. So I think for the time being, it knocks them out. But you lose to Colorado State on tomorrow, and you can pretty much all that rising that they've done in the tournament and in the net rankings, you can kiss that goodbye. They will be absolutely, completely done. Ohio State, I think Ohio State might drop a little bit. I don't.
They're going to the NIT.
You think so?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, bro. We brought it up yesterday. The SEC domination makes this selection process kind of easy. I think we're making it more difficult than it should be.
Well, from Ohio State's perspective, so the one thing that Ohio State has in their favor is that they already have 6 quad 1 wins, which it's more than Georgia, it's more than Kansas, it's more than it's the same number as Ole Miss. It's actually more than Louisville. It's more than BYU. You see where I'm going with this. They do have a lot of good wins.
Yeah, but they also have some bad losses.
They do. 3-3 in quad.
That's my only thing.
Yeah.
And I again, I don't know what it is with them. Maybe it's maybe it's coaching, maybe it's they just need to get better players. Maybe that's it. But nothing impresses me so in regards to Ohio State.
3-3 in quad. 3-3 in quad 2. Not the best. Just real quick for those that don't know, just what quad 1, quad 2 is that. So quad 1 for the NCAA, it's home games against teams that are ranked in the top 30 RPI, neutral games against the top 50, away games against top 75. Quad 2 is just kind of moving that metric down a little bit. I'm not going to explain the whole thing, but basically what it measures is that you have quality wins, and neutral games, it gets a little more forgiving. Away games, it gets even more forgiving. But that's what the quad system is. And you take all the teams that are in those, and then again, you separate them into quadrants. So it's the 25, 25, 25, and then whoever's left. After that becomes quad 4. So quad 1 wins are looked at very, very heavily. The next one that I wanted to talk about is Indiana. So Indiana from yesterday, they were one of the last 4 buys to get in. And the reason why is because it's on the heels of they play Ohio State at home on Saturday. I think that this game probably means more to Ohio State than it does Indiana. Indiana has not lost a game against quad 2 or less. They have a subpar record against quad 1. That's for certain, 4-12, but they haven't lost a game to quad 2 or beyond. If they lose this one at home, then they're possibly looking at dropping out, but I'm not sure that we will see that actually happen. I think that right now, the final 4 spots are down to about 6 teams. And then the last one I wanted to talk about before we get into today was, just because we said it yesterday, it applies today. North Carolina, really their only way in is, at this point, short of getting to the ACC championship game in the tournament or obviously winning it, is you got to beat Duke on Saturday. Not an easy feat. Don't know if that's going to happen, but that with what these other bubble teams are doing, you can't make a case for a North Carolina over them when North Carolina has one of the worst records. They have a high number of quad 1 games, but they're 1-10 in quad 1 games. You can't do that. You can't only have one quad 1 win.
Why'd you have to bring that up, bro?
I'm just it's bracketology. I have to.
Like, we couldn't have just skipped over them. We talked about them yesterday.
That's all I'm gonna say. Got to beat Duke. All right.
It feels personal. It kind of, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like that was aimed at me. I'm not taking offense. Just kind of, feels that way. Just a little bit. All right. It's cool. I'm not mad. Not mad.
Well, let's move on to today. First game.
We got Missouri State taking on Illinois State. Illinois State laying 5.5. This is a conference tournament game.
It is indeed.
3:30 p.m. start. So we got early basketball, y'all. For the rest of the time being. For the next 2 weeks, we're gonna have 2 weeks. We're gonna have early basketball. This is MVC.
For Arch Madness, it is.
This is Art. What is this? What conference is this?
This is the MVC. This is Arch Madness.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. See, I was right. See, yeah. I know my shit. We got a lot of red on the screen right now. Can you explain to us what we're betting on and why we're betting on it? And remember, this is a 3:30 start. So if you're gonna bet it now.
Yep. So when you're looking at Arch Madness, there's a high number of these games that go under. High number of these games that go under. These teams are often very, very close in net and RPI. It's often the third time that they see each other, which means that it's often a grind fest. There is no difference here today. These two teams have played twice already. with Illinois State winning both. However, in both of these games, they have not scored more than 142 total points. Now you get them in the conference tournament in a mid-afternoon game. This is a pretty clear under spot for me. Again, it usually happens in this tournament. So you also have a Missouri State team that's shooting under 50% effective field goal percentage on the road. You have an Illinois State team that is shooting almost 6% below their season average effective field goal percentage last three. You have neither one of these teams, especially in their last game, neither one of these teams shot the ball particularly well. Missouri State only 42%. Illinois State, I mentioned, they shoot 56% for the season. They were barely at 52%. And both of these teams in their last few games, as you can see here, specifically for Missouri State, turned the ball over. There were 26 combined turnovers the last time that they played. There were, and then in the first time that they played, which was back at Illinois State, there were 24. So a lot of turnovers for both of these teams. And you get that and you put that in the mix of Arch Madness, which if you don't know, that's what the tournament's called, because it's held in Missouri. So with the Arches,
St. Louis in particular.
Correct. Yep. Arch Madness, baby. But these games just tend to be absolute slugfests. Not a lot of offense, not a lot of scoring. That doesn't mean that I would advocate just going and blindly betting the under on all of them, even though some years that actually has worked. But even when you go back and you look at some of the first round games from prior years in this tournament, you just see a lot of low scoring games. In fact, I think that in the first two rounds, there were only two games that went over 150, and one of those games went to overtime. So it just is a slugfest. It's a slugfest. It's a grind fest. You also see that some of the shooting woes that some of these teams have. And Illinois State, their main offensive weapon is the three-pointer. They're second overall in the conference in percentage of shots taken from three. Now, that's good, except for the fact that over their last three games, because so they're shooting 37.4% for 36.9% in conference, 37.4 for the season, 29.8 last three games, and have multiple of their shooters that just are not hitting from deep. So you give me all that and you put them in this format in the middle of the afternoon. Nope, under spot for me. So first official play then will be Missouri State and Illinois State under 132.5.
And let's be honest in regards to these two teams, okay? There's some engineers in those starting fives. There's some accountants in that starting five.
Probably,
There's
yep.
a couple of Uber drivers in that starting five.
Probably, yeah.
So yeah, we expect
right.
we expect some pretty low scores because we're not getting pro level basketball, and especially like you just said, these teams when you enter tournament time, starting early games, and you're reliant on the 3-point shot. Teams are going to try to run you off early and just make it an ugly game. So love the under in that one. Next game we're going to get into is the Niagara at St. Peter's matchup. This is MAA. This is MAAC. This is MAC.
MAC.
This is your MAC.
My
the
MAC.
other MAC.
We
got St. Peter's laying 4.5. St. Peter's still performing at a high level even with a new coach. Not really. They're really not. And they're are these the Peacocks?
Peacocks.
The Peacocks of St. Peter's laying 4.5 with a total of 128.5. I got to think just preliminary. You're going with another under, aren't you?
Nah, I have a lean on the under, but the other the look I like more is on St. Peter's here.
Okay.
So for the first time in the MAC history, because of the conference expansion, not every team will make the conference tournament. So the bottom three teams do not qualify for the conference tournament. Canisius has already been eliminated. They're done. But the last two teams, or right now, the bottom two teams are St. Peter's and Niagara. And both of those teams have a chance because the other two that they're fighting for the last spots in the conference tournament with, Fairfield and Ryder, both have games where they could lose tonight. So this is first of all, this is an elimination game for the conference tournament. So whoever loses this, their season's over. And there's no conference tournament and there's no nothing. Now, when I look at both teams, St. Peter's is actually starting to peak. They're actually playing really good ball. They've won 4 of their last 6. Now, they lost to Quinnipiac last Friday, but they were ahead most of the game. They against this team at Quinnipiac, who is probably going to be in the finals for the conference tournament, could go to the NCAA tournament, is probably the best overall team in this conference. They were ahead by 12 in the early second half and really dominated up until the last 5 minutes of the game when Quinnipiac just had too much talent. And Quinnipiac also has one thing that St. Peter's does not, and that's size down low and just dominated in the paint. So one team is playing very, very well at this stage of the season. Niagara has lost 5 straight. They have lost 2 of those games by more than 10. They've actually lost one. They actually lost at Siena by over 30, and they're just slumping. They have not scored more than 70 points in the last 4 games, and that is not what you want against this defense. For all their offensive woes, as you can see, the sea of red over here on the left, the Peacocks still have that Shaheen Holloway, just absolutely man-to-man, in-your-face defensive pressure.
Ugly hoops. Ugly hoops.
What's that?
We call it ugly hoops.
Yeah.
Ugly hoops.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's ugly basketball. They play slow. They don't run. They grind games out. They get in your face. They're not afraid to foul. But Niagara has just been shooting the ball absolutely horrendously lately. 28.2% from 3 over their last 3. 32.9% from 3 on the road. The effective field goal percentage, not much better, barely over 50% in their last 3 games. And they also shoot under 50% on the road. St. Peter's, this is a revenge game for them as well. St. Peter's lost 70-60. There you go. Even at home, Niagara couldn't put up more than 70 on them. But the Peacocks offense has been playing a lot better. They put up 85 against Sacred Heart. They have been close to 70 in multiple games, but their defense is just really dug in, is playing their best ball. So when I look at this being an elimination game from the MAC tournament, neither team is guaranteed a spot, but a win would put whoever wins in a really good position to get one of those last spots. St. Peter's at home. St. Peter's is playing well. Niagara's not. This is a pretty easy Peacock spot for me. So a second official play would be St. Peter's -4.5.
Okay. Moving on to the next one, we got not as late night. Usually when Hawaii's involved, this is a starts tomorrow morning type of deal. But this game's obviously at Hawaii taking on Cal Bakersfield. Bakersfield short favorites at -1.5 with an over/under of 140.5. Please explain why we're betting on this game.
Yep.
I mean, I know we're gonna win it or whatever, but
yeah,
I would never personally think to even look at these two teams.
This can be a possible elimination game as well. Of the 11 teams in the Big West, the bottom 3 will not qualify. Long Beach, Cal Fullerton already eliminated, but there's a jumble for the last seed. And right now you have Hawaii at 7-11. You have Bakersfield at 7-12, and you have Cal Poly at 6-12. So you do have a logjam of teams, 2 of them being these 2 teams. And again, it's basically an elimination game or can be an elimination game. So Whoever loses this game whoever wins is not guaranteed a spot in the conference tournament. Whoever loses is almost assuredly done. So Hawaii did get the win on the island back in January, won pretty comfortably. However, as is usually the case with middle of the road Hawaii teams, good on the island, bad away from it. So they have not won a road conference game since January 11th. And that was against Cal Fullerton, who I just mentioned, 1-17 in the conference, 6-24 overall. They only have one road win this year against anybody of even remote talent, which would be Cal Riverside. Cal Riverside currently sitting fourth in the conference. But other than that, their home road splits are just straight up bad. And that's probably what you'd expect from a team that plays where they do. 50% effective field goal percentage away from home, 47% last three. Their big thing, though, is, as you can see here on the chart, is getting to the free throw line. They have a lot. They have two bigs, two decent bigs, especially Tanner Christensen, big, thick guys who they run a lot of 3-out, 2-in or 4-out, 1-in around them, and look to get the ball down to the post to get easy points at the free throw line. The problem becomes is, again, away from home, not so rosy. 20.4% free throws attempted on the road, 17 only in their last three. That's 17.3 free throws over their last three is sub 270 in college basketball. This team doesn't have shooters. They don't have the shooters to compensate when they're not getting to the free throw line. The thing that Cal Bakersfield has been doing, and Cal Bakersfield has actually been playing reasonably well. They've won 3 of their last 5. One of their losses was to top of the conference, Irvine, with Irvine's full roster. So little bit forgivable. But as you can see, Bakersfield is one of the better 3-point shooting teams in the conference. They're also one of the better free throw shooting teams in the conference. Bakersfield, especially over their last 3 games, 37.3% from deep. That's top 20. That's top 40 in the country. They also shoot nearly 36% from deep at home. And getting to the free throw line can be another thing because Hawaii plays such a physical style of basketball, they can be prone to foul. So Bakersfield attempting over 21 free throws, almost 22 free throws a game at home for the season. That's been pretty true over their last few home games. That would actually rank top 50 in the country. So you add all that together, you add the long travel together for Hawaii. Not like it's not like they fly in that day, but even still, the road woes that Hawaii has had, and you also give me a very, very short spread of -1.5, plus the meaning of the game, which essentially means that your season's over if you don't make the conference tournament. So I will take Cal Bakersfield. I haven't had any problem fading Hawaii on the road all year. I'm not going to do it on a short spread in an elimination game. Cal Bakersfield -1.5.
Luke, I'm sorry about that, dog. I don't usually apologize for losses because I don't lose a lot. We don't be losing a lot, but I apologize for that one, bro. That was just a bad read. I didn't. If you told me that both teams were going to score 85 plus points at Hinkle the week before conference championship games or conference tournament games, I'd have told you that you were probably smoking meth. I was wrong. They scored a lot of points. So the game is the game. I'm not harping on it. I just,
yep.
Well,
also to Luke, of course you do. Arch Madness is fun, man.
Damn right.
Arch Madness is awesome.
You should have put the PTO already. You should have had the PTO scheduled, Luke. What are you doing?
Yeah. Other Luke Murphy saying, I'm on the under in the Hawaii game. I can't blame you for that, especially if Hawaii is not going to get to the line. Just a discernible lack of shooters. Hawaii team total under might also work. They've had some really ugly road performances away from the island. Mo asking any in the chat took DePaul money line. I personally didn't, but congrats, man. That must have been a nice little payoff. And what'd you miss? So just a quick recap. 3 plays for this one, or for today for me. Missouri State, Illinois State under 132.5. St. Peter's -4.5 against Niagara, and Cal Bakersfield -1.5. All right. If there's any other games that anybody wants to just shout out real quick, feel free to. But for other action tonight, whenever conference tournament play starts, I'm not gonna lie, like I don't pay a ton of attention to the last games of this regular season in power conferences. I'm usually pretty locked into conference tournaments, but in top 25, only one top 25 game tonight, Michigan State against Iowa. And that line is pretty tough for me. It's kind of the no man's land with Sparty laying 6.5 on the road. If Iowa was on the road, I would just say fade them no matter what the number is. Doesn't really make a difference. They've been one of the worst road teams in college basketball this year, but at home, it's probably one, especially with Michigan State getting ready or kind of gearing up for the rematch against Michigan on Sunday. It's probably one that I just don't want to touch. I can see Michigan State, not want to say having trouble, but maybe just kind of squeaking a win out. But Iowa's had just such poor defense. I just don't even want to touch it. So let's see. Luke Murphy saying I'm leaning the under in the Rice and Wichita game. Yeah, I think if you're going to play that one, under is probably the way to go. Wichita for sure doesn't shoot the ball very well, and Rice has had some kind of up and down offensive performances. I think if you are looking at that one, yeah, under would be the way to go.
Tomorrow, we're going to do a show tomorrow, but I am going to introduce my college basketball conference tournament theory. It's very similar to the theory that we use in pro basketball, where we do bet a lot of unders in the first round of these tournament games. Because early in these tournaments, you're getting the worst teams playing each other. And they're going to scrap and claw to get to the next round. That's usually how it goes in these conference tournaments. So I think a lot of unders are the play, especially in the early rounds of tournament play. And then towards the end of the tournament, you get more games that have entertainment value where the scores are better. But that's a trend that's always taken place in these tournaments. We know about this.
Yep. Any insight on the Indiana State game? I mean, it's Arch Madness, so my theory on that one. Under is never a bad look in Arch Madness, ever. Like ever. As far as the actual game goes, I probably have a lean on Indiana State. These two teams, did they split this year? I want to say that they did. I'm pretty sure that they did. Now, this also is a back-to-back. So Southern Illinois, these two teams did just play less than a week ago. Indiana State just absolutely smoked them at home. So this is going to be, they did. I think they split. No. This is only the second matchup. I'm sorry. They did not.
He said Indy took both.
No. I was wrong. For some reason, I kept thinking that Southern Indiana was Southern Illinois. No, they only played once last week with Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois winning I'm all fucked up. Indiana State won the game by 18. Kind of want it going away. So you got a rematch less than a week later. I would look for this one. Again, Arch Madness, never a bad look to take the under. Probably don't have a whole lot of take on the game. I think that Indiana State is the better team. JS saying Indy took both. Did they see? I was looking. I only found that they played once this year. Well, either way.
You mean to tell me you don't know all the games the Sycamores played?
Sorry.
What the?
Sorry.
Larry Bird's very upset right now.
I know.
He's pissed.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that you've not been following the Sycamores closer this season.
No. They did only play once. Like I said, I was thinking of Southern Indiana, not Southern Illinois. They only played once last Sunday.
Or Indiana State.
Yeah. Yeah. See, too many. Too many Southerns and Indianas and Illinois. All right. Supreme Skips, what's up, man? Saying I'm thinking Utah Valley -3. That's where I would go. Abilene, not the same team this year. What's that?
I don't know, man. She only pops up when she's taking the dog. Whatever you play you just said, she's taking the dog. You said Utah Valley. She said the line's too short. She's rocking with who's ever on the other side. Sorry, Skips. That's how the rules work, dog. My dog only pops up for dogs. I don't make the rules. Ruby pops up, and she is always right about the underdogs. What's up, babe? You need attention. The show ran a little late today, so she ready to go outside.
RJ3, East Carolina, UAB to win. I'm assuming that's probably going to be a money line parlay, which East Carolina for sure. And then UAB actually didn't really look too heavy at that game, so I don't have a whole lot of take. But if you're into it, yeah, have at it. And Luke Murphy saying, "Yep, I like UAB on the spread." So we got a little bit of a consensus there. All right. Well, y'all already know what it is. Make sure you're following Spin Doc Sports and Sosa Picks on X. Make sure you're subscribed to the Daily Bread Network YouTube channel, Daily Bread Network on the YouTube. Make sure you guys thumbs up the video, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Back with more money, more free money. Fuck with us tomorrow. Peace. All right. See ya. Where the balloons?